Okay, with the video clips that we took yesterday, I have frozen 3 frames that relate specifically to some things I think are going to be issues, and I'm going to point out 2 things through these 3 frames, and I'm also going to reference the actual interactive section of the MySkillTracks membership site, because you'll want to go in and you'll want to review this clip against that content, and then I'll eventually get you your videos that that are part of the lesson. So when you purchased, and in fact, you also get a free follow-up lesson, by the way, with this. They're in setting the library that you can reference as well. So let's jump into the 3 frames that we got. We're going to move left to right, 1, 2, and 3, as they were captured. First, you're going to see the setup and the starting stance. That's going to be an issue because of the fact that the hands are starting way back on the other side of the foot, which would be the regular loading position if you were to go look at the phase 2 portion of the interactive. So you're starting actually where you should be loading to. And the little circles in yellow are an indication of what we call a knee knob position. You should be starting your hands right about in that upper circle area, give or take up or down a little bit. But obviously we call that a knee knob position, as you'll hear in the reference in the interactive piece. So the interactive pieces are going to be a little bit more important to you until we get the video clips in set for that free membership. So in phase 1, what we have to do is we've got to move our hands in and give ourselves a chance to load to that position where we see the long yellow line. And that long yellow line is the indication of where you're actually starting from. So that's going to cause us some issues because you do a lot of things right. And I have been amazed and was amazed through reviewing the hand speed was really, really good. And particularly when you take into consideration what you were doing with this particular starting position in the frame number 1. Because in frame number 2, what happens is that you load straight back, perfect load, but you actually do what we call a bar arm lock. So when you look at that red box, your arm is fully extended and locked. Now that normally what that's going to do is that's going to just create a longer, slower swing. But you really work through. So you've got some natural strength and some hand speed that's really pretty impressive. And you don't need to start in that position that you see in number 1. You need to start in a more comfortable, relaxed position to give yourself some room to load backwards, because where you're starting from now, you may have an inch or two, but it's just shoving your arms and your hands further away from the zone, the contact zone. And you really don't need to do that because it's bar arm locking, and you'll see that that arm locks out. And of course, now at that point, you're as far back as you can go in what we would classify as your phase 2 or the load. So you have the phase 1, the starting stance position where the hands are starting a little bit too far back. And then as we go back to the load, your load is really a lot longer than it needs to be. You don't need to have that long of a load because you're actually extending that arm there that you see in the box, and that is called bar arm lock, and that's a longer, slower swing. And then at this point, too, as you'll see at the lower right-hand corner of the circle, you open the front side foot up, which would be one of the bigger things we're going to have to deal with. Now, as we go into frame number 3, you're going to see we're going to move from 2 now into the contact zone. Now, the long aqua line from the top in the frame 3 down is the beginning of the contact zone. And we talked about when your hands hit that line, it's very important to understand where the bat head is in relationship to the hands. And here you see that you would be approaching that green line out to the right out in front of you. Let's just say that's the pitch plane, and you're attacking that particular pitch plane. But look where your bat head is in frame 3 where the yellow line is. It's totally below the hands. And of course, the red line in frame number 3 is the low to high approach. So we're going to uppercut, and it's going to kill us on the upper third of the zone. So we got to work on the starting hand position and getting you back into a position where the bat head is over the hands, and then obviously maintaining the closed front side foot. And we'll work more on that. I'll personally get with you, and we'll begin to cover those 2 things in person.